Sergei Bobrovsky, 2 Vezina trophies. If he wins the Stanley Cup, he's most certainly the Conn Smythe Trophy winner in the process.
That's a
Does
good
that give him
question.
automatic passage into the Hockey Hall of Fame,
You know,
Elliotte?
you come up with a lot of dumb questions, but this is a really good one, I have to say. um, you know, I'd be curious to know, Jeff, and I would definitely concede you're more of the historian. You're more of the historian than I am, but I would be curious. How many people have had as many down years as Bobrovsky has had? Like, there's some real highs, but there's some real lows.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to netminders who would be Hall of Famers, none of them are jumping to mind for me right away. And as a matter of fact, here's where it gets more interesting, Elliot. The one position, and I think this is on the top of mind. I think for a lot of people at the Hall who do the voting, the selection committee. I think that the net mining position might be the most underrepresented of all the positions. There are plenty of defensemen in there, plenty of forwards in there as well. The one area, and listen, the goalie guild will tell you this right away. That's the one area that is woefully inadequate. And even though Bobrovsky did have down seasons, certainly you look at the way he started his career in Philadelphia, right? He was like, okay, reclamation project here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Ian Clark helps turn around Sergei Bobrovsky's career, a couple of Vezina trophies into Florida. At times, it looked like he had lost his job, both to Spencer Knight and then this season to Alex Lyon, and then turns in this performance. But what I think this does is, because I think you measure players because you measure players not just based on the entire body of work, but I think you look at where they're at as a peak performer. And as a peak performer, there's 2 Vezinas. And if he wins the Stanley Cup and if he wins a Conn Smythe Trophy, I think for people on the selection committee for the Hockey Hall of Fame, they would look at that and say, how do we not, considering goaltenders are the least represented in the Hall of Fame, how do we not give this guy passage? Despite the fact, to your point, there have been some really down times for goalie Bob.
I tend to look at it the opposite, Jeff. I would look at the top, but I would also say, like, I think one of the things the Hockey Hall of Fame has gotten right now, and it took them a while to do it, was recognize great careers that didn't last. Like, it used to be that who got punished, the Pavel Bure's, the Cam Neely's, the Eric Lindros's. Those players would not get into the Hall of Fame. And we've finally gotten to a point where we recognize that maybe your star didn't shine as long, but it shined very bright. That works. That makes sense. And to me, that would almost seem to be an argument against Bobrovsky because he's had a longer career and a good chunk of it wasn't very good. Like, I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I think it's a great debate, but I don't know if, and he's unbelievable right now, and he's going to have an incredible resume if he does what you say. But the first thing that pops into my head is, would there be a Hall of Famer who had as many rough years in their prime? Like, I think that's another key thing here, is that they should have been in some of the prime years of Bobrovsky's career. Like there are some players who held on when they were older, right? But I don't think anybody holds that against them. But Jeff, it's a great argument. It really is. It's a really good question, a really good argument.